thank you once again for joining. Today we are really privileged that we are running this webinar and just talking about the theme unlearning and relearning, which is very interesting to me, not just as a facilitator of the network, but also I'm really looking forward to how I can now position myself and embrace the change that is happening. COVID has presented opportunities for us to learn, and I believe to also unlearn and to unwind. And I think things are happening so fast that we never really get time to think about what's happening. We are running, and particularly as entrepreneurs, we run to provide solutions. We run to deliver and remain as relevant as possible. And we are indeed in the new normal. And I believe whenever there is anything new, we have to change a lot of things. We have to embrace a new mindset, embrace change. And I do believe that new normal that we are yet to really fully understand what it is, it will require that we learn new things, we reskill, we retool, we repurpose. That's the world that we find ourselves in, and it's quite an encouragement to see very many organizations join us this morning, because this is important to us. So this morning, we will be looking at how do we embrace change and thrive in the new normal, led by our facilitator. The webinar is designed to help us to recognize and overcome the limiting mindsets that will help us to move our business to the next level, because a lot of us are feeling stuck. And how do we program our minds for growth and for change? And to lead us this morning is none other than our great facilitator, who is a friend of mine. She's a member. She was actually one of the very first people that joined our network when we were so new. We hadn't even understood the market very well. Christine is a well-known person in Kenya. She's an author, she's a speaker, she's a training consultant. She's very seasoned in areas and matters of leadership and management. So welcome, Christine, and let's enjoy the webinar. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Wangeshi. Indeed, this is a great pleasure. Now, I want to briefly talk about the objective of our session today. Like I said, I will share slides every once and now and again, but I don't want to be all about slides. I would much rather we have eye contact and look at each other. But really what we are talking about, like Wangeshi said already, is to embrace change. Change has hit us mark between the eyes, and we are either going to roll over and die, or we are going to adjust. Now, I like that I'm talking to entrepreneurs, to business people, because we are usually more inclined to adapt to change. We are more positive than the rest of humanity. So this shouldn't be a very difficult conversation to have, but nothing will ever be the same again. Absolutely nothing will ever be the same again. We are never going back to what we knew. There's nothing we can do about it. Somebody once said that the only constant in life is change. So at this time, we are having to realize that this life itself is made of change, but this one has just hit us more suddenly and more profoundly than the other changes in our lives. Because, for example, if I give you an example, you're 1 day older today than you were yesterday, but that is not a change that you're feeling necessarily. That is just something that happens gradually. But this one, especially for us, let me give you an example. Our business pre-COVID was basically organizing seminars and conferences and doing these meetings physically. So somewhere in the beginning of March, our business was cancelled in a flash. We found ourselves without any work all of a sudden. So we have to adjust. So in having to adjust and having to observe everyone else trying to make adjustments, I have been doing this, and I'm trying to share some of the insights that we've had through this. Now, change in itself is neutral. Change is completely neutral. It is what we make of it that determines where we get, whether or not we succeed through it or not. Change, let me give you an example. Change is like traffic. Traffic is neutral. Traffic is just on the road. Now, whether you get upset with the traffic or not is your decision. How you react to it is your decision. You can either calm down, play something, use that time to do something else while you sit in the traffic, or you can get all agitated and start honking at the other driver. Your reaction does not change the fact. So in the same way, COVID is here. We are going to have to live with COVID. So the best that we can do is to adjust and make adjustments so that then our lives will benefit from this new normal. Find what is the benefit in this? What can I benefit from this? So the objective of this program is to help us, first of all, to understand why is change such a difficult thing for us, and then how can we embrace this change to be able to make it to our benefit. So we want to go within, we want to address those blockages that make us resistant to change. And let me prove to you that you're resistant to change. You are over 10 years old. Usually the young children, they find adjustment very, very easily. I don't know if you've taken a child into a group of other children who they didn't know before. How soon is it until they are playing together? 2 minutes, 5 minutes? Adults, we tend to be more resistant. If I meet you, I don't know you, I'm looking at you suspiciously, I'm wondering, who is this person? Do I know them? Do I trust them? As adults, so as long as you're an adult, chances are you're more resistant than you are friendly to change. So let us all look at ourselves, okay, this is where I am, and this is how I'm able to move forward. So we want to go within and address those mindsets, those ideas, those blockages we have that are within us that make change difficult. There's a story I like that, there's a quote story that I read that says, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be the people who cannot read and write. It will be the people who cannot learn and relearn. So we have to rethink the whole idea of who is illiterate in this 21st century. In this century, we have to be learning all the time. We have to be learning. So first of all, the first thing is to unlearn what we have learned. And we are going to go through some of the things that we have learned in our lives that make our learning that much difficult. We'll go through a few of them. I'd like to share this of a young artist who went to a guru, a much older person in his field, and he said, he was actually a musician, and he said, Master, teach me everything you know. And the master said, I'm unable to teach you everything I know because your mind is already too full of what you already know. So we are going to have to override some of the information that we have so that then we can create new files like in our mind. If you think of your mind like a computer, it's already full. I'm sure sometimes your computer will tell you, you need to either delete some files, you need to save some files on a cloud so that then make room in your disk for new information. So look at your mind as a computer program. Your disk is full. It's now. There is nothing wrong with what you know so far, except what you know has brought you up to here. But you're trying to go there. So you will need to create new files in your mind to take you to the next destination. Because unless you're going to learn something new, unless you're going to do something new, you're not going to get to a new destination. I'm sure you're familiar with the adage that says that doing the same thing and expecting different results is what is called madness. So we are going to have to reprogram our minds so that then we are able to adjust to the new normal, like Wangeshi was saying. Now, the distance between where I am and where I'm trying to go may not be in things I need to learn. Let me tell that another way. I already know how to let me use an example. Have you ever seen somebody who has financial challenges? That's all of us, isn't it? Do we know how to make more money? Yes, we do. So basically, my wealth level is getting higher if I am spending less than I am making. Those are things we know on a theoretical basis. But why are we not doing them? Say, for example, I want to lose weight. What do I do to lose weight? I need to make sure that I'm taking out more than I'm taking in. I need to check my diet. I need to check my exercise level. These are things we know from a theoretical perspective. But why am I not doing that? Now, there comes the thing that I need to unlearn. There is files in my mind. There is programs running in my mind which are blocking me from doing what I already know to do. So that's what we are calling by what we need to unlearn. Let's use food, for example. I think I'm speaking largely to a Kenyan audience. So if I was to ask you, would you come to lunch if I was going to serve frog eggs? Chances are you'd frown about it. Chances are you would think, what is she talking about? Is she crazy? That is not food. All right? The reason you'll not be eating frog eggs is not because frog eggs are not food. It's because you have not been conditioned and raised to think that that's so. We are basically a computer program that is programmed in two ways. First of all, we have generic programming. Those are the traits that you inherited from your father and your mother. And then there is the environmental programming. Now, this begins even before you're born. When a baby is still in their mother's womb, they are hearing all these things, that the conversations around them and all of this. So by the time you get born, some sounds are already familiar, some voices are already familiar. A newborn baby will know their mother's voice. These are things. Now, the programming has already begun. Now, up to the age of 9 or 10, any information that a child gets goes directly to their subconscious mind. There's things you know that you don't know that you know. We only begin to develop our reasoning mind around the age of 9 or 10. Some children earlier than others, all of us are different. But up to that age, we are absorbing all the information that is coming out of the environment. So that, for example, a child who is raised in a family that has alcoholics, chances are so much higher that this child is going to become an alcoholic themselves when they become an adult. A child that is born in a family that has crime, I'm using negative examples because those are easier to observe. A child who has been raised in a family that is full of crime, that's a crime. They are going to be tolerant to crime, they are going to approve of crime, they are going to participate in crime, based on the programming, environmental programming that has happened in their childhood. Now, if we flip the coin and look at positive traits, most children raised by leaders are going to become leaders themselves. It's what they observe unconsciously. It's what you just pick up from the conversations that are ongoing. So a lot of what is going on in our minds has been programmed. So that now if I'm telling you to have a meeting online, for example, you're thinking to yourself, but I haven't greeted them, I haven't shaken their hand. We are used to eye contact. All of these are functions of our programming, of our environmental programming, which we have had ever since we were born and which are standing in the way of us learning something new. So that is what I mean when I say we need to unlearn most of what we have done. Now, let me give you examples that you might recognize from your own childhood. A lot of us have been raised to think that money is in short supply. I'm sure a lot of us have grown up hearing that money is in short supply. Now, most of our parents, or the parents of our parents, were raised in the colonial times. Everything was a struggle to get. And therefore, we had, whenever we asked for anything, we were told, no, sorry, we can't afford that. No, sorry, stop wasting that. No, sorry, that is not for us. Now, that becomes ingrained in our system, so that later on, even in adulthood, when we are trying to make decisions, there is that computer programming that is saying money is in short supply. Another example would be, for example, you observed your parents fighting about money, and maybe this was something that happened when you were 2 or 3, when you were 5 or 6, when you were really a very small child. But then what happens is you then go through life looking at everything from a screen that says money is something people fight about. Money is something that's going to bring discord. People are going to get into a fight based on, and therefore you avoid money, therefore you mentally resist anything that is going to, now that becomes a default, a generation. And your children are learning this from you, you're learning this from your parents. It's something that goes on generations, so there is actually no one to blame. I was giving examples of things that have ways in which we can tell that our minds have been pre-programmed, and things like having observed our parents fighting over money, and maybe that happened very early in your life, maybe just a conversation that you caught, and more often than not you find that those are things that stand in our way, so that then we are now, whenever we make decisions, we've got this notion at the back of our minds that money is something people fight about. So for the most part, you're not like eager to do things that have to do anything. You create your own blockages. You create your own blockages around money or around any other thing. This is just an example that I'm giving that gives us an understanding of what the subconscious mind is and how it works. Now, research has proved that all the actions, all the thoughts that we think are 95% controlled by our unconscious mind. Now, our conscious mind, like I said, think about it like a computer program. It's been programmed either environmentally or genetically with all the experiences, all the words you've ever had and all of that, so that our reactions, our thoughts, our words, our actions all come through the subconscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind is the one that deals with things like breathing, like the heartbeat, body temperatures, and all of that. But also the majority of our action is controlled through the subconscious mind. So those are the things that we've now made a basis of that. Now, you might ask yourself, okay, how then can I tell some of the things that I need to unlearn? How can I tell what it is I need to unlearn? Just look at your results, look at your life. What are the areas that you would like to improve? Now, all of us have got things we would like to do better. All of us have got areas of our life that we would like to improve. I'm saying that the way we can tell which areas we need to reprogram our minds, where we need to unlearn and then learn a new system, you can usually tell that by our results. If the area you would like to improve is you'd like to grow your business. If your business, for example, is turning X amount of money, but you would like to 10X that amount, you would like to 5X that amount, you'd like to multiply by 20, you'd like to grow your business, but there seems to be a blockage, that will tell you where your mind is at, and that is where you must have areas of things that you need to unlearn. There must be a program running that you need to unlearn. Now, let me give you some examples. I'm sure you've had this. Better safe than sorry. Better safe than sorry. That is, it's a cliche almost that is used all the time, and it's something that I suggest that you unlearn, because that has to do with our risk tolerance. You guys are business people, and therefore you know that business is all about risks. So whenever you take the safe position, chances are you lose out. Let me give you an example. As soon as this whole COVID thing came and our business went bust and everything, I discovered I had to go online. And what did I do? I took my phone. I did not know what Microsoft Teams is. I did not know how Zoom works. I did not know any of that. I just took my phone, I placed it on a stand, and I recorded a video. Just start somewhere. Am I going to look like a fool? Likely. Are people going to laugh at what I'm saying? Probably. But I'm going to learn something new. So one thing that you can do is to lose the whole notion of what are people going to say about me. Now, again, you guys are entrepreneurs, so you do not dwell too much on what are people going to say, because they're looking for approval. A lot of times is what stands in the way of our progress. Another example would be, life happens to you. That is not true. Life is what you do with what happens to you. That is usually a victim's mentality. Whenever you think that things happen to me, or COVID happens to us, COVID is neutral. Just like we said, traffic is neutral. It's not a good thing, it's not a bad thing. What will determine is, what will I do with it? All right? Another one that I like to talk about all the time is this: age is a thing. Age is a thing. Age is not a thing at all. Now listen, my body is older today than it was yesterday, for sure. But your soul is eternal. Your soul is eternal. I love what a speaker said once: don't let an old person move into your body. Because at the beginning of your life, you are too young to do things. You are not allowed to do this, you're young. You're not allowed to do this, you're too young. You're not allowed to do this, you're too young. And then suddenly, I don't remember when it happened, it flipped. And now you're too old. You're too old to start a new business. You're never too young or too old to do anything. In this technology world that we are in, we have seen people become billionaires who are less than 20 years old. Develop an app today and you'll be a dollar millionaire tomorrow. We have seen businesses start, and KFC is always the easiest example, by people who are over 75. So age is not a thing. Age is not a thing at all. I'm giving you examples of things that you might want to unlearn. Retirement is a thing. Now, listen. You guys are entrepreneurs, so I'm sure nobody that is in this meeting thinks that way. Retirement is not a thing. Retirement is something that was started when life expectancy was 45 years old. These are some of the things we have inherited from the industrial age, which was in the 1940s. And at that point, people lived to 45. So when they said you're going to retire at 55 and we'll pay you a pension, they didn't think you would survive till then. Now, the way life is working nowadays, we are living to be 100. So you can't very well stop your life when you're 60. You're barely halfway done. So retirement is not a thing. Just lose that and live your life without paying too much attention to what your age is based on the date of birth that you arrived on planet Earth. Skin color is a thing. Now, we have been brainwashed. Let's face it, guys. We were brainwashed to think something about the color of my skin makes me a better person, makes me a more trustworthy person, makes me this, that, or the other. None of this is true. I've seen this happen all the time. Somebody gets privileges, somebody gets trusted or not, based on their skin color, based on their background. These are some of the things we need to unlearn. I'm sure you have seen very competent people who come from the four corners of the world. I'm sure you have seen losers from all corners of the world. So age is not a thing. Skin color is not a thing. Another one is this that we need to unlearn. Your elders or your parents, they know best. I'm sure some of us are adults. I'm sure we are parents ourselves, and we have discovered that, listen, our parents were not right. Neither are we right. I cannot tell my children I know better than you simply based on I'm your mother. That's not necessarily true. Chances are a very good idea could come from somebody very young. So we can't go through life saying that the elders know best. There's a lot of things you learn from your elders which are not true. We need to unlearn them. We need to delete files. In fact, what I was just giving an example right now of skin color is a thing. That is something we inherited from our parents. They came from the colonial age that made them feel inferior, because of the colonial masters under whom they lived. So that is a notion we have inherited, which is simply not true. So we need to unlearn that. Now, there are ways in which we can reprogram our minds, and I want to give you a few examples of some of the things that we can do to reprogram our minds. Because if, for example, you have been taught that you're now too old to do anything, maybe you had been employed and you were retrenched and you were told, oh, you served for 15 years, so now you have to leave. There is that idea in your head that you're too old. It's not as easy as delete. Now start thinking this way. It's not very, very easy to do. I want to give you some strategies that you can use in order to be able to reprogram your mind to move from where you are now to where you want to be. And the first one is this: repetition. You want to hear the same thing over and over and over again. I am the kind of person, if I find a good book, I read it and reread it and reread it. Some of my favorite books I have gone through with a green highlighter. You will know, because when you go through the pages, you'll find highlights in green. Another time I went through holding an orange highlighter. Another time I went through holding a blue biro. So I went underlining and writing notes in blue. By the time, if you look at a book I've had a few years, it has so many different marks. The human mind learns by repetition. Don't listen to this once and think you have learned. Don't listen to good teaching. Don't read a good program once and think you have learned it. The human mind learns after hearing the same thing 27 times. These are facts that have been scientifically proven. So if you want to learn something new, if you want to override the programming that is in your mind, which may have been there for 20 or 30 years, you want to use repetition as a strategy. Listen to positive material, listen to it over and over and over again. I'll give you an example: the battered woman syndrome. If, for example, today a woman is married to somebody who is going to start beating her all the time and telling her you're useless, chances are she begins to believe it. I'm sure you have seen that in school as well. If a child is told you're useless, you're good for nothing, you can't understand anything, chances are that person begins to believe it. So that tells you that the human mind learns by repetition. So now we want to use this on the positive. Play positive information all the time. And I'll give you practical ways. If you are doing the full day seminar, we would actually create programmed for you to use, but I'll give you a few hints as we go along. The next strategy after repetition is affirmation. Affirmation is otherwise known as the I am statements. I am rich and prosperous. I am this. Now, at the point of you writing these affirmations, they look like lies. You don't believe it. Listen, you have believed the opposite over the last 20 years. Chances are it will take you a minute to begin to believe the positive things. So what I'm suggesting is this. Say them anyway. You can use affirmations by placing them in places you can see them. You can put sticky notes in your computer. You can make your computer screen, your phone screen. You can put sticky notes. You can write on your mirror. There are very many ways in which you can use affirmations. Just write down what you would like to be. Because if you have been raised like 95% of us have, it's difficult to convince your mind. If today you told me to run for president, my own mind would be rejecting it. My own mind would be telling me, Christine, listen, you're too ordinary. So if I can use affirmations, telling myself what I want to hear, and I use this, your inner conversation is the most important conversation. So the first strategy was repetition. The second strategy was affirmation. The third strategy is visualization. Begin to play mental movies of who you would like to be. Begin to play mental movies of, listen, even if today you are put in prison, there is nobody except you who controls the thoughts that you have in your mind. Or you have exclusive control on the thoughts that go on in your mind. One of my favorite movies is The Shawshank Redemption. I'm sure you've watched it. One of the leading movies in the world. I've watched that movie over and over and over and over. And it's about this guy who went to jail for something he had not done. And he was in jail for at least 20 years. And at one point he was thrown in the seclusion. I'm forgetting what it's called. They have a seclusion cell where he was thrown for a month. And for 1 month he didn't talk to anybody. They gave him his food through a pigeonhole. He was in a dark place. When he came out, he was dirty, stinking, bearded, and all of that. And the fellow prisoners are asking him, how did you survive? He said it was the easiest of all, because he did not allow his mind to be in that seclusion room. You have exclusive control on your thoughts. Begin to play mental movies of what you would like, and that will have the effect of reprogramming your mind to be able to get to the destination of where you want to go. Because like I said at the beginning, the distance between where you are now and where you want to go is not in the things you need to learn, it's in the things you need to unlearn. Another strategy that I want to share is meditation. And meditation is not something complex. You don't have to be in any particular body. It's nothing religious. It's just going silent and going within. Some people prefer to do that in the evening. Some people prefer to do that in the morning. But the most important habit I ever created was in going within. There's a lot of answers that are within you. There's a lot of answers that are within you. So I really recommend that you learn the practice of meditation. I have said in order to reprogram your mind, you use repetition. You hear positive material over and over and over again. You use affirmation. The inner conversation is the strongest conversation. Use I am statements to say to yourself what you want to hear, what you would like to become. Use visualization. The simplest way to look at visualization is playing mental movies within your mind to grow you from where you are to where you want to be. And finally, I have suggested that you use meditation, which is simply going into a quiet place and tuning into your spirit. I am not going to give a religious talk or anything, but all of us are led by a much bigger spirit, much bigger power than we are. And that is who you're tuning into when you go into meditation. Now, because of the time being so compressed, I want to share 10 steps of learning to reinvent ourselves. Whether you want to reinvent your life, whether you want to reinvent your business or your career, I want to share 10 strategies in which you can reinvent yourself. And the first one is this: live in the now. Live in the now. A lot of our problems are that we are either very afraid of what will happen in the future, or we are very regretful of what has happened in the past. All your regrets are in the past. All your worries are in the future. Now is pure. don't contaminate it. When you look at the past, there's a lot of shoulda, woulda, coulda. I should have done this. I could have done this. But none of those will change the reality. I want you to take an exercise today. I want you to write down on a piece of paper everyone who is to blame for the state of affairs that you find yourself. Maybe your parents did not take you to the right schools. Maybe your parents loved your sister better than you. Maybe your competition went to the press and said nasty things about your business. Maybe somebody did, whatever it is that someone has done to you, I need you to write it down. Write all the blame list. Write a long list of all the things that are to blame for the situation you find yourself. When you finish, write that list, ask yourself, what has changed now? Nothing about your blame list changes the results. Blame is a totally wasted emotion. It's a wasted emotion completely. I am suggesting that you step on it. Whatever it is that has happened to you, step on it. I like the analogy of two rats that were thrown in a bucket full of cream. And they started running and struggling to try and get out. They were struggling to try and get out. And one of them gave up and just sank into the cream and died. The other one kept on stepping on the cream, and what happened? The cream turned into cheese. And so it became firm, and the rat was able to ride out. I'm saying this to say, probably some of the things that have happened to you are the stepping stone that you're going to use to get to where you're trying to go. So lose the blame list completely, live in the now. Second strategy, you are capable of so much more than you think. You are capable of so much more than you think. Now, at the risk of exposing my age, I'm going to let you know that I went to NYS before campus. And what happened is we were put through. Now, most of you, I'm looking at your age here, I'm looking at your faces, and none of you will know what NYS is, so I'll break it for you. We went to a pre-university training that was for 3 months, that was paramilitary. Now, if you know me at all, you know that running is not my strength. Waking up at 3 a.m. to go marching, wear uniform, to do all the military things that we did for 3 months, it was the toughest physical thing I ever went through. But the one thing I learned out of all of that was this: I am capable of so much more. I remember coming from that, and my mom would give me an errand. My mom would tell me, do this, and soon she's like, "See, I told you to do this." And I'm like, I became so much faster at everything I was doing. I became so aware that my physical body can do a lot more than we often require of it. Now, a lot of the things that we think, like growing old, that's just a learned way of thinking, that you are limited in any way physically. You are a lot stronger than you think. So one of the points I want to make, our number 2 strategy is you are capable of so much more. So what else can you attempt? Attempt bigger things. Number 3, rewrite your family blueprint. Rewrite your family blueprint. A research showed that the majority of people in mental institutions are there because of something that has to do with their family. If you go to mental institutions, anybody who is going through counseling, 90% of the people in mental institutions, 90% of the people who are addicted to drugs have something in their background to do with their family that they have become unable to overcome. Our conditioning out of our family will normally teach us what to love, who to hate, what to eat, and all of this is something you can override. Remember, we said if you try to write a list of things you know for yourself which you have not been taught by anybody. My list had nothing, because everything I know, I have just been taught. There's nothing I know for a fact. Most of the things that I know, I have just been taught. Now, if you override your family blueprint, in other words, if your family is a family that believes you must be a university professor to be somebody, just lose that notion. If your family believes whatever it is that is of a negative connotation, that comes out of your family background, I am suggesting that you override that. Number 4, embrace feedback. Embrace feedback. You want to keep people around you, one, who praise you. We all have a need to be approved of, to be praised. It's a good idea to have people around you every once in a while who will, and I'm not looking for bootlicking here, people who will let you know, Christine, the way you are going, this you have done well. Everyone requires encouragement, and entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey. So if you can find people who will agree with you, who will encourage you, that's a good thing. But the second category of people when we say embrace feedback is you need to have people in your life who are candid, who are going to let you know that this is not working. In as much as we need encouragement, don't be the biggest fish in your pond. If you're the biggest fish in your pond, please move ponds, because you're the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. So you need friends around you who will give you the truth of what the situation is, what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. Now, don't have people who will criticize you from malice, but have people who will give you constructive critique of what you are doing. So embrace feedback. Number 5, recreate reality. Recreate reality. Remember, we say that nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Thinking makes it so. There's a practice I like, and it's called pretend. I want to teach you how to pretend. Now, an actor makes a career of pretending to be the character. An athlete wins a medal by pretending not to be tired. A performer puts on a show by pretending not to be nervous and afraid. Now, a business person will succeed by pretending that all their clients smell like roses. I am very sure there are some clients you have who are not so pleasant to work with, but just pretend that they are. I'm very sure there's a lot of people in your family, in your circle of friends, who are not the most pleasant people to be around. Pretend that they were. So that if you have to call Christine and think, oh my God, look at this woman, just pretend I'm a nice person. Just pretend I'm a nice person. Just call me if you have to, because only reality you're sure of is the one you have created. So recreate reality, pretend that things are good which are not, and you will be surprised to find that now they are. Now, number 6, get in the driver's seat. Get in the driver's seat, become action-oriented. Become action-oriented. Things don't happen, things are made to happen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, even COVID-19 was made to happen. It didn't just happen. Let us make sure that we are proactive rather than reactive. Now, if you need to have a difficult conversation, if you need to make a difficult decision, do it first thing. That is something I have to learn myself. Some conversations are hard, this client you need to call, they're not very pleasant. Do it first thing, get it over with, because what is happening is, it stays at the back of your mind and distracts other things you could be doing. So you want to make sure that you do those things that are difficult to do fast. That helps you to operate from a place of strength, because if there's a client whose delivery is not going to happen on time, if there's a client whose payment would come on time, the sooner you let them know, the better. That way you're being proactive rather than reactive. That way you're operating from a place of strength. Communicate with confidence. Be the kind of person who communicates with confidence. We have a lot of training programs in our system that have to do with communication, because if you could improve only one skill to further your business, then that would have to be your skill to communicate. Now, speak up at every opportunity. Whenever you're in a forum for business people, whenever you find yourself in a meeting, whether online like we're doing now, or when we go back to reality, make sure that you speak up. Because a lot of times opportunities will come to you because you're volunteering, because you're the one who speaks up. Work for free. Work for free. A lot of times the only way you will be able to expose your business, to expose your gift and talent, is if you do something for free. The nearest example that comes to me is a time when I was running a property magazine, and the guy who did our graphics One day we are having a conversation and he told me, my actual skill, my strength, my pet project is drawing cartoons. And I told him, really, that sounds very nice. Draw a cartoon every month. I will carry it in the magazine and I will put full credit. The cartoon has been done by so just make it relevant to our theme of the magazine and we'll carry it in the magazine every day. He said no, because I wasn't going to pay him extra. I thought that was very unfortunate because it's been years since then and I still get people calling me who are holding that magazine. And anything that you do will usually pay you back later. So don't be so focused on how much are they paying me? How much are they paying me? Give of yourself. Give of yourself and you will be surprised because you basically make money based on how many people you're serving. So if you're trying to grow your business, ask yourself, how many people is my business serving? How many solutions am I providing? Because money is a function of how much we are able to serve other people. So get in the driver's seat of your life. Become action-oriented. That's my number 7. Become action-oriented. There's a quote I like that says, I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. What I mean by this is become the kind of person who tries new things. Doing is what teaches your subconscious mind. You can listen forever, you can write down notes forever, but it's the things that you do. An easy example would be riding a bicycle. You can watch people ride bicycles all your life. You will never learn how to ride a bicycle until you get on a bike. And so it's the things that you're doing. Try new things all the time. Better to try and fail than never having tried at all. Now, usually on this one, we are hurt by our education system, which tends to discourage wrong answers. We usually told, this you have done right, this you have done wrong, which hurts our attempts at doing things. I am proposing that you become the kind of person who fails your way to success. One of my favorite shows to watch on TV is Shark Tank, where entrepreneurs come and present their ideas and their businesses for funding by the billionaires that are known as the sharks, quote unquote. And there's one thing that was said on Shark Tank that stayed with me. They say that you only ever have to be right once. You can go opening and closing businesses, you can lose money, you can go bankrupt 1,000 times. You only have to be right once, but once you're right, that can make you into a billionaire. So become the kind of person who takes risks and who tries new things. Number 8, be a change agent. Be a change agent. Now, as an entrepreneur, of course, you're a creator. The point I want to make here is this: trust your gut. Trust your gut. There are very, very many times when we have very, very good ideas, but we put them down because we haven't seen it before. The best ideas are the ones you haven't seen before, because that means that you are an inventor. That means you're coming up with something new that hadn't been done before. If a lot of people don't approve of what you're doing, chances are that is confirmation that you're right. Because guess what? The majority are never right. The majority are never right. In my personal opinion, and this is just my personal opinion, I think that democracy is one of the tragedies of history, because democracy assumes that the majority are right, and the majority are never right. The majority are never. So if you find yourself at a place where you have to do something that has not been done before, let me give you an example. During this whole COVID thing, we started to do online training. Like I said, we have been doing conferences and seminars and trainings in training rooms and in hotels and all of that. And this comes around and I'm trying to sell an online program. I happened to be having a conversation with a managing director. And I told him, I'd like to sell you guys this training. I'd like to do this. And I explained all of that. And he said, but that has not been done before. I was like, excuse me? Wait, I thought I'm talking to the MD. Is it an MD's job to chart the way forward? How is it you're an MD and you're telling me this hasn't been done before? Now, become a change agent. The most risky things, the things you haven't seen done before, the things that look scariest, the things that make you stand out on your own, are likely the things that will propel your business forward. Number 9, allow yourself, actually branches out of the number 8, allow yourself to stand alone. Allow yourself to stand alone. This is one of the most difficult things, and this is what makes entrepreneurs, because at the end of the day, you can't give in to peer pressure. You cannot give in to peer pressure. It is when you compare what other people are doing, trying to do what the other person is doing, that is when you kill creativity. There is only one you. There is absolutely one you. Now, a good note here for us parents: allow your children to have a mind of their own. If one of your children, where our parents all wanted us to become engineers and doctors and lawyers, that generation has passed, and we have agreed that we are never going back to the old normal. Allow your children to think for themselves, because you never know what they are coming up with. Don't keep on looking back. If you are a runner, for example, and we are Kenyans and so we relate to racing. If you're in a race and all you're doing is turning and looking behind and turning and looking behind, that is the surest way to lose the race. Even when you're running, you're looking at what the other person is doing on the side, this other side. That's the surest way to lose the race. Just allow yourself to stand alone. Compete with a better version of yourself. I like the interview that interviewed, I forget his name right now, a really accomplished person, and he was asked, what does he aspire to? And he said, I aspire to be the best version of me that I can be. I aspire to be the best version of me that I can be. So allow yourself to be alone. And finally, number 10, go within. Go within. I talked about this already. Tune into your spirit. I do not know what you believe religiously, and this is not a religious conversation, but you will only be as successful as you're able to tune into your spiritual side. An easy way to do that is to mind your thoughts between the hours of 3 and 5 a.m. If you find yourself with an idea in the middle of the night, I strongly suggest that you get up and write it down. Now with technology, you have your phone beside you. Just make a note of what ideas you have. A lot of my solutions, a lot of my creativity, a lot of the things that I do, I tend to come up with them during that time. So be careful to act on ideas that come to you at this time of the day. They are usually direction from your spirit, and usually they will take guts to implement. But once you implement those, you will see that you're getting to a much bigger place than you are at the beginning. Let me just share this, that the distance between where you are and where you want to go is not in what you need to learn, but it is in what you need to unlearn. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We can go into Q&A. That's my contact, but then that's going to be shared at the end of the session. I'd like to hand back over to Wangeshi.
Wow, Christine, thank you so much. We are now ready to take on the questions, the Q&A. This morning, she started by taking us through 4 strategies. First of all, on areas where we need to unlearn. Christine has talked about reputation, affirmations, visualization, and meditation. And then she went on to take us through 10 strategies for reinventing ourselves. And I must say that this is the right time for us to be receiving this kind of information. We are finding ourselves on lockdown, and some of us are stuck. Some of us have closed our businesses, or maybe we are facing different challenges during very new and challenging times. And we have received some very good tips and strategies. Actually, one of the greatest insights I've received this morning is on her last point. Go within, that was the point. And then tune to your spiritual side and mind your ideas at this time. So could it be, that's why sometimes I'm so blank with ideas, that at that time maybe I'm very busy snoring or dreaming, but I'm going to be more conscious about what comes in and comes on at that time, and jot it down and act on it. So that was my insight this morning. What's yours? I've actually seen one of the very interesting comments here by Sultan. Pretends the reason why con men con people is because they are successfully and professionally pretend to be real, and you become convinced they're real. So thank you, Christine. Great point. So thank you. And there's a question here by Sultan. Christine, shed light on how to navigate challenges of resistance to changes outside, from outside your forces as well as within. And then there is still a question on, please can you guide on how to let go of those things, attitudes, dislikes of the past and present, so as to embrace the future. So their question, one is on how to navigate the challenges of resistance to change, both from outside, I guess from within and without. And the other one is, please guide us on how we can let go, and particularly of attitudes, likes, dislikes of the past, present, and so as to embrace a better future.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm trying to catch up with all the questions that they're coming into the chat box. Thanks, Wangeshi, for your help. Yes, I had seen the question on how to let go. First of all, it's a good idea to appreciate that it's never easy to let go. It's never easy to let go. I can give you an example out of my own life. When I had to let go of a relationship, and it was very, very difficult to do so. And what I did was I allowed myself, remember we talked about visualization? I allowed my mind to see this person walking away. Whenever I thought about this, and it had been a business relationship, and I was at the place where I knew that this was not going to help me, but I had been clinging. All of us know what it's like to break up in a relationship. I was visualizing over and over, just watching this person walk away. Remember, you are the controller of your own thoughts. So I would play a mental movie over and over. Whenever I thought about this person, I visualized them walking away. I visualized so that all I'm seeing is the back of this person walking away. So that in your mind, you begin to develop the idea that this person is no longer in my life. I have used that as well when I have to forgive. Because I mentally, I either do something nice for the person I'm trying to forgive, or I mentally, if it's not someone I'm able to reach out to physically, then I mentally possibly see myself giving them roses, either doing something, telling them thank you. This is all things I'm doing in my own mind in order to be able to let go. First of all, appreciate that it's never easy. It's not something that is going to happen very quickly. All of us have got different ways in which we let go, and it depends on the situation. Sometimes it can take a very long time for you to recover, especially when it's a negative experience that you've had, or when you've had a loss, whether it's of business or of a person or something. But letting go is something that will happen in your mind. Allow yourself the time, and remember, the control of your mind is entirely yours. So allow yourself to play positive rather than negative images of the situation.
On behalf of Invest Enough, I would like to thank you very much for your patience and for keeping on despite this hitch. We do believe that you have gotten something. We wish you all the best. Let's unlearn to and go out and reinvent ourselves. I believe we are going to build even better business, and we will emerge stronger. So thank you so much, and God bless.